I'm gonna love you.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Dan's Chess Lounge. Man, do I have a good one for you today. Can anyone say swindle? Did you guys see the Hikaru Nakamura game today? I felt bad for his opponent, Gunina Valentina, the Russian Grandmaster. She played a really great game today, but Hikaru just kept grinding and grinding. The game was 135 moves, and it was pretty even all the way until the end. I mean, he had an advantage. He had an advantage just because of the material. It was two rooks versus a queen, and then at some point he got an extra pawn, so he had an advantage. But it was still very drawish, and it was just like a lot of just waiting moves, and it. I'll show you guys the game. I can't go over every single move here, just because, like I said, the game was 135 moves. It lasted over 7 hours. I know the players, they would have to be exhausted tonight. Hopefully they'll get some good sleep and be prepared for the next round. But let's go ahead and get into the game. And let's just see how Hikaru swindled his opponent here out of a half point. All right, it was e4, c6. Caro was white, and Valentina played the Kann. d4, d5. Hikaru pushed. As you guys know, this is the advanced variation of the Kann. The bishop goes to f5. One of the advantages of bringing out the bishop early is that you can develop your bishop outside of the pawn chain, unlike in the French defense where the bishop gets trapped in the inside, and then you have the known French bishop. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. Hikaru plays the flank attack right here, h4. It's a very aggressive opening here. h5 is played. I just want to show you guys a little trap here. If she would have played e6, then he could play g4, f3, followed up by h5, and he would win the bishop. That's just a little well-known trap in the flank attack. But of course, she's not going to fall for anything like that. She played h5, bishop d3. Bishops are exchanged early in the game. e6, and now black is saying, hey, you know, I have a very solid position here, come get me. That's basically black's idea, you know, in this opening here. So, bishop g5, queen a5, knight d2, and both players are just developing their pieces at this point. Castle. She's attempting to trade queens. He says, no, thank you very much. Castles. Kicks the bishop. Bishop goes back. And then this is where I'm going to stop in the opening right here. There's a bishop trade. And now you have just the knights left on the board, the two rooks and the queens. And no pawns have been exchanged yet. So this is the end of pretty much the opening here. The bishops are gone, and now they're going to go into the middle game. Let's skip here to the next section of the game. That's critical. Okay, in this position here, you have white trying to do something on black's king side over here. You have black's queen and rook here getting ready to attack the h4 pawn and potentially trap white's queen. So Hikaru plays g3 here. Rook e8 is clearing way for the knight to go to f8 because Hikaru can threaten some checkmates here. Knight goes to d4. Knight goes back to f8 like I was saying. And then Here we go, knight g5. Now you have a lot of threats and pressure on that f7 square, and then you have the weak h7 square as well. So she plays rook e7 to protect the f7 square. And now this is a beautiful move here, knight f5. She takes, and now you notice that the knight on d5 is undefended, so he quickly gets his piece right back. Rook d4, threatening to take in exchange the pieces, simplify the position. He says, no, thank you very much. e6. f6 was played in the game. If the rook takes, then that just walks right into a mating net here. You have f takes. You have e takes f, rook takes, queen takes, and then checkmate. So f6 is played in the game. Now you have a very critical position in the game here. Naka plays queen f7 check. He's going to give up his queen for the position. And at the end of the variation here, it's going to be two rooks versus a queen. Now you have king going to g2. Now, the next move here is f takes knight. But if the rook would have taken on d5 here, let me just show you how that would end. Rook takes knight, checkmate. So you have f takes knight on g5. King plays h7 here. If queen takes rook there, which seems like a logical move, then you have rook takes, king goes to h7, rook h8, and now you just have another queen there. Queen f5 check, picks off the pawn, king g8, and then h takes g, picks off another pawn. You have 4 white pawns to the 3 black, but the black king is way more exposed. This is better for white here. So that's why black did not play queen takes rook on d1. Instead, she played king h7. Okay, and then at this point here, I'm going to go ahead and skip further along because the rest of this part of the game is just a battle between the 2 rooks versus the queen, and who's going to be able to advance their pawns. And let's go ahead and skip further along here. We're at move number 39, but I want to skip up to 58. Okay, at this position here, the position is a little bit more simplified here. White just played rook f3 here. And as you can see, most of those pawns are gone. King takes on g5 here. So as I said, the position is a lot more simplified here. You just have 2 black pawns and 2 white pawns. Still queen versus 2 rooks here. And this is going to be the meat and the potatoes here of just grinding poor Valentina down on the clock and physically grinding her down, mentally grinding her down. So at this point, the players just shuffle back and forth. Black's plan, it really is to try to check white as much as possible and prevent the white king from making any progress. So black just shuffles along, looking for checks anywhere that she can find. But really, at this point, Hikaru has been able to coordinate his pieces together to where now he's getting ready to win the G pawn. And now he won the G pawn. Once he wins the G pawn here, she's in for a long, long day. Because now Hikaru is not going to take any draw offers, and he's not going to play for a draw. He's playing for a win, no doubt now. And all she can do is just suffer at this point. Because the goal now is to push that F pawn. The F pawn is going to be the deciding piece in this game now. So let's go ahead and skip further along here to the last critical moves of the game. Okay, we've gotten rid of the A pawns here, and now, like I said, you just have the F pawn left and the two rooks and the queen. So now Hikaru's mission is to push that F pawn up the board, and that's exactly what he does here. Now Valentina's job is to check the king and try to prevent the king from making any progress. The idea here is really to play this like a king and pawn endgame, and then just use the rooks to shield the king from being checked. So like in this position here, the queen checked on G1, so white's going to use his rook to block the check there, and then as soon as he gets the opportunity, he's going to move up the board and try to drive the black king backwards while he pushes the pawn. Just like that. See how the king is going backwards and white's pieces is going forward. White is using his rooks as a shield and using his pawn as a shield as he drives the enemy king backwards. And all black can do is just try to check and hope that white doesn't white misplaces his rooks where he can fall into a fork, but Hikaru is making sure to keep his rooks connected together as he just inches up the board. This is like a slow death for Valentina. Now at this point here, black has to watch out for not only the pawn promoting, but for checkmates. Like now, you have the classic, back rank checkmate on the side of the board. If white could play rook h4 at this point. So she goes to h3 to stop that. Now you have more shuffling around, more checks. Now the king is behind the pawn, and all of white's pieces can shield the king. Black's running out of time. Black is running out of checks, and black is running out of board space. The F pawn is only 2 squares away from promotion. Let's see how the game finishes up. F7, queen. This was a brilliant move here. Hikaru just offers the rook on A6 here because as a deflection move, because if black takes the rook, then the pawn on F7 promotes. So it's a deflection move. Queen C4. Connects the rooks again with rook G6. And at this point, Valentina resigned because the next move that Hikaru is going to play is rook E6, which is going to be an interference move. Then the pawn on F7 can go ahead and promote. Black is not going to be able to stop the pawn from promoting. So at the end of the game here, Hikaru wins. He's off to a 2-0 start, and his journey and mission to win a fourth Gibraltar Masters is still going. It's a heartbreaking loss for Valentina. I do feel a little bad for her because this reminds me of a good swindle. You know, and if anyone's out there that's played these long games before, over 100 moves, they know how it feels. I know how it feels personally to lose a game that's over 100 moves long, that's very even. So my heart goes out to her. But congratulations to Hikaru Nakamura. That's usually what the good players do. They grind you down. They're heartless. Okay, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.